Hello, thank you for tuning in to this week's read. For the main part of the read, the tarot cards are the Art Nouveau Tarot by Matt Myers. I've had this a long time. I'm going to say close to 30 years. I don't think you can find this anymore, but maybe. That's the information. This was before website. Well, I shouldn't say it was before websites. It was definitely before websites were popular. There's the information at the top. So if you're interested, that's the information for that tarot deck. Supportive Oracle cards, Chakra Wisdom Oracle cards by Tori Hartman, illustrated by Gretchen Reich Baskin. Website on the back is, I believe, watkinspublishing.com. Should be right there at the bottom. Feel free to check that out if you're interested. And I also use dice. I use a 22-sided dice for the major arcana, substituting 22 for 0. For the Fool, I use a 14-sided dice for the minor arcana, and then I have a 4-sided dice that I use to choose the element for that minor arcana. All these came from the dice shop, which is mathartfun.com. Hopefully you can see that website if you're interested. Hopefully it shows up on camera. mathartfun.com. Okay. With that being said, if you would like a reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. This is James, the number 4, astral@gmail.com. If you're interested in the donation information, that's below, same email. Thank you very much for watching, and let's get into your read. Hello, Sagittarius. Thank you very much for tuning in to this week's read. These readings are valid for whenever you come to them. That being said, what do we have for Sagittarius? Okay, so, oh, that's interesting. Okay, so, where are we starting is a good question, because I got the 9 of Swords here, which is stress. Is it a stressful time a year or something? What's going on? It seems like a lot of Sagittarian readings I do lately have stress, like stress is like a thing, which I'm assuming it's higher than normal, I'm assuming. But the reason the stress is here is because there's something where I don't know what's really going on here. I don't understand why people are doing what they're doing. It may be that you're kind of going towards something like, you know, this belongs here, you put it there. This goes over there, you put it there. Maybe you don't do everything in like a methodical order, but it's kind of like, well, you know, it's kind of like, you know, dairy goes in the fridge. You know, canned stuff goes in the pantry. It's kind of like that stuff. To you, it's like, you know, it doesn't matter what order you do it in, but, you know, certain things belong in certain places. You put the ice cream in the freezer, unless you want it to be soup, which that's your business, but it's kind of like there's certain things that, you know, are supposed to happen a certain way, and people are putting things, like, it's kind of like people are leaving things out, like they're leaving certain things like ice cream or something out, and it's kind of like, why are we doing that? Like, I understand you want it to thaw, but you left it out and then you just forgot it there for 2 days, and now we had to throw it out because it's obviously not good anymore. So it's kind of like things aren't making sense. You're like, certain things should make logical sense, and it's just not seeming to do that at the moment. It may not be as dramatic as the examples I gave, but it's kind of like things aren't, like, it's not making sense. You know what I mean? It's almost like, you know, you don't ask a 14-year-old to drive you to school or to work because they're too young to have a legal driver's license, at least where I live. So it's kind of like things aren't making sense here. It's causing some stress for you. The thing is, it hasn't always been like this. Until recently, it's either one of two things. It wasn't like that, or you weren't aware it was like that. Like, I didn't know that that type of thing was happening, or it wasn't happening, one of the two. So until recently, it didn't seem like it was a problem. But I do have that in question. Was it not happening like that, or did you just not know it was happening like that? That's the question, because in the past it was good. And maybe that's part of the problem here. It's kind of like maybe you're looking at it like that, like Has this been going on the whole time and I just didn't realize it? Like, has this been a thing all this time and I just didn't realize this? I feel like I'm trying to get involved and I'm trying to like put it in order. And I'm feeling like maybe I can, but people are resisting. So, okay. So, there's a lot coming in at once. Knight of Fire, King of Air, which is staves and swords. I feel like I'm trying to work with this. I'm trying to get it to make sense. I'm trying to line it up the way it needs to be lined up. I don't think I'm trying to make a big deal of it. I'm just trying to solve the issue without making a big deal of it. You're putting a lot of effort into this. It's almost like if we're going to use the analogy of whatever I said before, like there was the leaving the ice cream out. It's kind of like, okay, groceries are here. I better go in there and see what happened. Make sure things are where they should be so that they're not in the wrong place. You know what I mean? It's kind of like don't put the popsicles in the fridge because they're going to be that's not going to be fun. So it's kind of like I'm just checking like are the popsicles in the fridge? Like is there something in the fridge that shouldn't be there? Is there something in here that shouldn't be there? Is there something over here that shouldn't be there? I'm just checking around. For example, with the having a 14-year-old drive you to work or school, it's kind of like all right, I'm just going to offer a ride. I'm going to offer them a ride. I'm just going to go and do it myself. I'm just going to like circumvent the situation. I'll give you a ride. That way that's not an issue. I'll give you a ride that way. We don't have to worry about that. I feel like you're doing double duty like that. You're just trying to that's how I'll solve it. I'll just step forward and I'll just do this. So we don't have to have an argument about it. We don't have to have an issue about it. I'll just do it, handle it myself in a different way. That way it's not an issue. That's how this feels. So I don't know that that's working. There's conflict with it that's very subtle and underlying. I don't think I said that right, but it's like there's conflict, but it's not. It's like somebody's disagreeing with you and doing what they want, but without you realizing it, they're not really telling you that they're still doing what they want. I get this card is this is the 9 of Fire. This is like somebody holding in line that they're going to do what they want. They're just not telling you. You got this other perfection and vanity over here. Like it's almost like somebody's still like, all right, well for that situation, all right, I'll let you give me a ride to work, but then I'm still going to have the 14-year-old, go pick this up with the car and do this other stuff with the car. Like, it's like they're having the 14-year-old do something else with the car. And it's kind of like, no, the point was I was picking you up so the 14-year-old wouldn't drive the car, not so you could have the 14-year-old do something else with the car. And it's kind of like, no, we're not supposed to be doing that. And it's kind of like the same thing. It's kind of like with the groceries. Like, it's almost like they're buying it, instead of buying it all at once, they're buying it in pieces and they're trying to sneak it in where you don't realize they've purchased groceries so they can put them where they want, even though it doesn't make sense what they're doing. And it's kind of like they're working around you to still have their bad behavior. Like you're trying to solve the issue, you're trying to help the situation, and they're taking it as if you're trying to control them, and that's not what's going on here. It's a little weird. It's kind of like you're trying to fix it, and then they're working around you purposely to keep it messed up. Okay. This is only going to last so far because you're going to realize they're doing that. And there's going to be some type of breach of boundary is what I'm also getting. The Devil card coming in, I read the Devil card, like, especially because sometimes it talks about Capricorn energy. The way, and like, the Moon card talks about Pisces. Sometimes I don't mention that, but that was there. Because I read it with that flavor to it, it's not always a bad thing. It talks about rules. It talks about rules, if they're not adhered to, having a very harsh backlash. Like, there's consequences for not adhering to the rules, and the consequences can be very difficult. Whoever's working around you and they're just kind of like still doing their behavior that I feel like is not good. They're working around you to still do their behavior. They're still doing whatever this is that they shouldn't really be doing. And again, I keep looking at it like you're looking at it from the outside, like, yeah, that's obvious, that shouldn't be happening. But for some reason they feel like, no, it should be. For whatever reason. and when those rules get broken, well, it's not just about when the rules get broken, because they've been broken for a while. When those rules are called out for being broken, somebody's calling it out, somebody's causing an issue with it, being held accountable for the rules that were broken is basically what's going on with the devil card, is what I'm seeing. It becomes like a bigger question of like, what else has been going on? I feel like somebody else is going to step into the situation and go, all right, so we know this is going wrong and we know that's going wrong, but I think we need to do a fine-tooth comb here and see every little thing that's not being done the correct way, so we can evaluate if things are safe or not, or if something else needs to be shut down here. So it becomes kind of like, it's almost like somebody looking at somebody who took a math course for a whole year and then all of a sudden realizing that they've been cheating. And it's kind of like, all right, well, what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to take this person to the side, and we're going to have to, like, say there was 6 different categories that they learned during that year. So the first category, we're going to give them 3 different tests to see what they actually know, how much they actually cheated. Second category, we're going to give them 3 different tests. It seems like it's a process, but they're like, we want to know what's actually going on here. And it might be a painstaking process. I feel like the devil is kind of like that. It may seem like overkill. It's almost like I feel like maybe we'll just give them a final and see what they do good with and what they don't do good with, and maybe we can see from there. I feel like that would be your version. Let's just give them the final and see what they can handle and see what they can't on their own. But the devil's like, nope, we're going to divide it into the 6 pieces. We're going to give them 3 tests for each piece and see what they actually know and what they actually don't know, and we're going to make them explain it. The devil is like that. The devil is not going to have any sympathy, and they're going to want to know what the actual truth is, and they could be quite brutal about it. So that's kind of why I'm giving that analogy. I'm not saying you should do that. I'm saying this is probably going to happen, and that's how the devil's going to handle it. Kind of like, all right, we're going to pick it apart, and we're going to put your feet to the fire on every little piece you should know and see what you really do know and see what you really don't know. And it's going to be a painstaking process. When this happens, there's nothing for you to feel bad about, is what I'm getting. You tried to help, but I'm getting like things are going to get better, but it's hard not to center on what's not what I don't like. It's hard to not center on what I don't like. But they're saying this is nothing for you to feel bad about. The situation actually can improve in a very notable way due to how this is handled. It does seem like overkill to me. It does very much seem like overkill to me, but I'm getting, don't feel bad about it. What they're advising to do is just kind of like help where you can as it's being reformed. Help, like whoever this is, for example, they're like, oh my God, I got to take 3 tests on chapter 2 tomorrow, and I'm really kind of stressed. I'm like, well, here, let's talk about chapter 2. Maybe, like, I don't think you can learn it in one night, but like whatever you do know, maybe I can help you, have confidence in that, so at least you can do that. Just kind of support them, try to give them encouragement, kind of let them know, you're going to get through this. This is what we need to do. Realize that this is actually going to fix the situation. The devil doesn't have much patience for this ridiculousness, and it's going to put things back the way it needs to be. It is harsh, but it will fix it. So, try to support whoever this is and try to just kind of like help them get through the process. I wouldn't pity them over it, and I wouldn't try to like justify or unjustify any of it. I wouldn't talk about like the social ramifications of it. Just kind of like, okay, this is what you have to do. I'll help you do this. Like, help them physically move forward. But don't center on the, oh, this is harsh, or, oh, this is too much energy, if that makes sense. Just because it's happening either way. This situation is designed to move this energy on and to complete this issue. Like, so when I keep giving the analogy of like somebody having a 14-year-old drive them to work, when I say it's coming to completion, they're not going to have the authority to do that anymore. They're not going to have the authority to make these mistakes, whatever they are, anymore. It's not going to be allowed. There's going to be harsher restrictions, harsher rules, and certain privileges taken away over this. Once it moves on, that's the end of it. It's not going to be a problem anymore. the Wheel of Fortune is at play here, so being more compatible with this energy that's calling it out is going to make it easier. Trying to kind of, if you think about a wave pool or being in the ocean when it's choppy, or riding a horse even, when you kind of just go with the motions, the more you assimilate to how the motion is going in the moment, the easier it is to kind of get through the situation. I'm not saying it's going to be enjoyable, but I'm saying like the more you accommodate the situation and just try to match the rhythm, the easier it's going to be, even if you don't like the song. Because that Wheel of Fortune will play out. It's going to take a minute. It doesn't seem like it's controllable. When I see that Wheel of Fortune, it's going to be left and right a lot here and there. It will rectify. Things will be fine on the other side. I get this Knight of Cups where things will go a lot better. Things will be a lot better for people. Things will improve for people whether they want to admit it or not. And there's going to be an error of like certain things aren't going to make sense, but I feel like there's pieces missing. There might be like certain rules are in place or certain restrictions are now made, and it's kind of like I don't understand why we have that rule. I don't understand why that's happening that way. People aren't going to be explaining why they're doing what they're doing. It's all about keeping the situation under control. There might be extra rules or things that seem like, well, I don't think we need to do that, but whoever's in control is going to be like, well, that's what we're doing. It doesn't, whether you think we need to do it or not, that's what we're doing. It goes well. It goes well, but there's going to be rules and restrictions that I feel like I'm kind of like, why are we doing that? Like, it's almost like, it's almost like somebody saying, well, now you have to go to bed at this time and you have to get up at this time. And you're like, but that wasn't a problem. Like, that wasn't an issue before. And they're not explaining why they're doing this rule. But that's going to be like, well, I'm turning off the power to the house, so you're just going to sit there in the dark, and I'm taking away all of the electronics, like the cell phone and all that stuff. So, it's at this time at 9 o'clock at night, everybody's going to bed, and then at 6 o'clock in the morning, everybody's getting up, and that's how it's going. It's kind of like, okay, I don't think we needed to be that harsh about it, and they're like, well, we don't care. This is how it's going to go. It does improve, like these rules do improve the situation, but it doesn't seem like they were necessary. I don't see a negotiation with that. But I feel like they're also giving you a heads up. There's going to be rules here that you're like, I don't think we needed to go that far with this. It's not going to be negotiable, and it's going to happen. It is going to improve the situation, though. It will help. So it will be helpful for the situation, but I also see you looking at it going, I don't think we needed to do that. Just so you know that's going to happen. All right, I think we're there. All right, I'm going to shut this down here. I hope that helps. Thank you for watching. If you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James, number 4, astral@gmail.com. If you're interested in the donation information, that's below, same email. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great day.